Welcome back, my friend. Tonight, we return to London as peace begins to fracture. Charles I rules alone. Parliament rises again. Scotland resists, and quiet disagreements grow into the first tremors of rebellion. The storm is approaching, though the city still waits in silence. Settle in, breathe slowly, and let history carry you towards sleep. Subscribe to Deep Sleep Storytelling for more peaceful journeys through history, science, and the mysteries of the sea.
Shadows behind the calm. Settle deeper into your blanket, my friend. Slow your thoughts, like leaves drifting on a quiet river. Tonight we move into a different layer of London's story, a softer chapter, yet one filled with subtle tension, like the feeling that the weather will soon change. The plague has passed. Life has regained its rhythm. Families are rebuilding. Markets are humming again. But beneath this peaceful surface, London begins to sense small tremors. Nothing violent, nothing sudden, only faint cracks in the foundation of the kingdom. Charles I sits on the throne. Beautiful palaces glimmer along the river. But the king carries ideas that will soon collide with the people who walk the London streets. The calm after the plague hides a quiet brewing storm. A king of ceremony and distance, Charles I is very different from his father. James I loved talking. He enjoyed debates, long conversations, public appearances. People knew his voice. Charles prefers silence. He moves carefully. He speaks softly. He treats the monarchy like a sacred stage where every step must be measured and graceful. He builds a court filled with art, music, and elegance. Painters arrive from Europe. Musicians fill royal halls with soft melodies. Tapestries shimmer beneath candlelight. Many admire this beauty, but some Londoners find it distant, almost cold. They whisper that the king lives in a world too perfect, too polished, too far from the muddy streets of the city. It is not hostility, just unease, a sense that the king's dreams drift higher than the lives of his subjects. The rising power of Parliament. While the king drifts toward ceremony, Parliament grows more confident. Members demand more influence over taxes, trade, and the kingdom's future. They argue that the country should not rely only on the king's judgment. They believe in shared governance, a balance of power. Debates begin quietly, then grow firmer, then sharper. Londoners follow these political quarrels with interest. Merchants prefer stability and predictable laws. Guild masters worry about royal taxes. Sailors complain about rising naval costs. Ordinary workers hear rumors in taverns and wonder who truly protects their future. The tension is not yet visible in the streets, but it vibrates in conversations, in pamphlets, in sermons. A kingdom with two rising centers of power always carries hidden friction. Religion adds fuel to quiet fires. Religion, already delicate in England, adds another layer of strain. Charles I supports a more elaborate, ceremonial form of worship. He appoints church leaders who prefer incense, altars, and ornate rituals. To some worshippers, this beauty feels holy. To others, it feels threatening, too close to old Catholic traditions. Londoners talk softly about these changes. Some shrug and return to prayer. Others frown and speak more passionately. Religion is not just belief. It is identity, it is memory, it is fear and hope mixed together. A shift in ritual touches the heart, sometimes more strongly than a shift in law. These religious tensions move gently through London like long shadows at sunset, barely noticeable at first glance, but impossible to ignore once seen. New taxes and old frustrations. To support his elegant court and strengthen the navy, Charles needs money, lots of money, but Parliament resists granting it. So the king turns to older, less popular methods: forced loans, fines, custom fees, maritime taxes. Some are legal, some are questionable. All are unpopular. Merchants groan under heavier fees at the docks. Shopkeepers complain quietly to their neighbors. Even wealthier citizens feel the weight of royal decisions on their purses. Still, these frustrations are whispered, not shouted. The city remembers the plague. It remembers how easily life falters. People want peace, not conflict. But peace built on silence is fragile. The streets sense the change. Wander with me now through the streets of London. Look at the faces, the soft uncertainty in the eyes of merchants, counting their coins, the thoughtful frowns of apprentices, listening to their masters discuss politics, the murmured conversations in taverns where sailors wonder if new taxes will cut their wages. Londoners are practical. They care about trade, bread, and work more than philosophy. But even they notice the shifting air. The city feels like a stage where characters begin to move into positions for a drama that has not yet been announced. People feel it without being able to name it. Something is changing. Artists capture the mood. Interestingly, the artists of Charles's court sense the tension long before the citizens do. Painters create portraits that show the king noble but alone. Eyes distant, jaw set, hands gentle but firm. A man of ideals, drifting away from the crowd he must lead. Poets write verses about storms beneath calm seas, about rulers who walk a narrow path, about nations trembling on the edge of unknown turning points. Even musicians compose melancholic melodies beneath the joyful tunes played during feasts. Art, as always, reveals the truth before the world admits it. The Thames watches silently. Through all this, the Thames remains steady. Boats glide along its silver surface. Dock workers carry crates, their muscles moving in quiet rhythm. Sailors sing soft work songs that echo across the water. The river has seen other tensions, other kings, other worries. It does not judge or hurry. It simply flows. Sometimes Londoners sit by its banks for comfort, watching ripples move slowly toward the sea. The water feels wiser than the city, more patient, more accepting of the long cycles of history. London breathes deeply in the presence of the Thames. It remembers that every worry is temporary, every storm brief compared to the river's endless journey. A city balancing on the edge of tomorrow. By the early 1630s, London stands between two worlds. One world is familiar, the world of workshops, markets, laughter, and prayer. The other is emerging, a world of political questions, religious anxieties, and financial strain. The city does not fall into chaos. Not yet, but it slows its step, looks around, and senses the approaching shift. This is a London between breaths, between calm and turbulence, between certainty and change. It is the quietest moment before a new chapter. Let this image linger. A city peaceful on the surface, yet carrying small tremors beneath its cobblestones. A king devoted to beauty, yet drifting from his people. A population loyal, yet quietly uneasy. A river eternal, watching silently. London is walking towards something it cannot yet see. Rest with that gentle thought. The king who ruled alone. Close your eyes a little more, my friend. Let your breath flow like a calm tide rolling against soft sand. Tonight we step deeper into the quiet corridors of 17th century London, where the city moves through a new chapter of stillness mixed with unease. The year is 1629. Parliament and Charles I have argued one too many times. Voices rose, tempers tightened. And then, like someone slamming shut a heavy wooden door, the king dissolved Parliament and decided to rule without it. London does not erupt. It does not riot. It does not cry out. Instead, the city goes quiet. A stillness that feels almost polite, almost patient. But beneath it there is tension, like a long bowstring, gently pulled but not yet released. This will be remembered as the king's personal rule, a period of nearly 11 years when he governs England alone. Let us wander gently through this time. A kingdom without debate. In most years, Parliament is where grievances are aired, where taxes are discussed, where policies are shaped, where the people's concerns find a voice. But from 1629 onward, those halls fall silent. Meetings do not convene. Benches gather dust. Speakers wait in vain for summons that never come. Some Londoners are relieved. No arguments, no shouting, no political drama spilling into the taverns. But many feel uneasy, as if the kingdom has stopped breathing out. A system built on conversation now rests in silence. And silence can be comforting or frightening depending on who listens. A beautiful court far from the city. Charles I thrives in this new solitude. With no parliament to question his decisions, he pours his energy into the royal court, transforming it into a jewel box of art, music, and ceremony. Painters walk through the palace halls, carrying brushes infused with European brilliance. Musicians rehearse soft harmonies that drift like perfume from chamber to chamber. Tapestries glow gold and crimson, capturing tales of myth and virtue. To the king, beauty is a kind of truth, a reflection of divine order, a reminder that the world can be perfect if shaped with enough grace. But outside these gleaming chambers, Londoners see a different truth. Their world is muddy and crowded, their work long and tiring, their problems practical, not polished. The king's vision feels too distant, as though his palace floats above the city on a cloud woven from silk and candlelight. Admired, yes, resented quietly. Both feelings exist side by side. New rules drift down from above. With Parliament silent, Charles introduces laws by royal decree. Ship money, forest fines, trade regulations. Fees inherited from medieval custom revived with new weight. Some are reasonable, some are outdated. Some place heavy burdens on those who can least afford it. The king believes he is strengthening the kingdom. Londoners believe the king is reaching too deeply into their purses. But complaints rarely echo loudly. People whisper at docks, at markets, in alehouses, but few dare to speak boldly. They have lived through plague. They have lived through hardship. Many choose acceptance over confrontation. Yet acceptance does not mean agreement. It simply means waiting. The churches grow more ornate. As the years pass, Charles continues reshaping religious life through Archbishop Laud. Churches become more ceremonial, altars rise, candles multiply, vestments shimmer. Music becomes richer, slower, more contemplative. Some parishioners adore this beauty. They feel lifted toward heaven. They feel peace in the ritual. Others grow wary. To them, this ceremony resembles old traditions they fear, traditions they thought England had left behind. Londoners begin attending sermons that challenge or defend these changes. Some preachers speak of loyalty, others speak of conscience. Fear of old divisions flickers like a candle flame. No chaos yet, only soft murmurs, shadows that stretch slowly along the edges of daily life. Life in the streets continues. Despite these shifts, London itself remains lively. Markets bustle, guilds expand, ships from Amsterdam, Venice, and the Ottoman Empire unload goods that shine with color and texture. Craftsmen work with steady hands. Children play in alleys. Actors rehearse in taverns, eager for theaters to reopen fully. Daily life is a thick blanket covering the city, smoothing over the cracks beneath. London endures whatever kings do. It always has. It always will. People laugh, argue, sell, trade, sing, and forget politics whenever possible. Yet even in this normal rhythm, a subtle tension hums in the background, like a lute string tuned just a little too tight. The quiet presses of dissent. In hidden corners of the city, printers begin producing pamphlets, small sheets, cheap paper, strong opinions compressed into tight paragraphs. Some support the king, some critique him, some whisper warnings of divine displeasure, some urge patience and unity. Pamphlets move through London like birds, passed hand to hand, read by candlelight, folded into pockets, left on tavern benches. Ideas spread faster than any guard can stop them. A kingdom might be ruled from the throne, but the mood of a city is shaped in its alehouses, and London's mood, though calm, is beginning to shift. Gently, slowly, but undeniably. Small sparks in the cold air. By the late 1630s, the strain becomes visible. Merchants resent ship money, Puritans resent religious rituals, landowners resent forest fines, sailors resent naval taxes. Each group alone is manageable, but together they form a quiet chorus of discontent. Not a scream, not a cry, just a rising hum. London feels it in the cold winter air, in the way crowds hesitate before cheering royal processions, in the way sermons tilt toward caution, in the way gossip spreads at docks like ripples in a pond. Storms rarely begin with thunder. They begin with pressure, invisible at first, then unmistakable. The pressure is growing. The city holds its breath. As the decade closes, London stands at the edge of something it cannot yet name. The silence of personal rule no longer feels peaceful. It feels stretched, thin, fragile. The king continues his graceful ceremonies. Parliament remains closed. The people continue their daily work. But every part of the city senses the approaching shift. A change in the wind, a flicker in the air. The kind of moment when nature pauses before releasing a storm. And London, wise and weary, braces gently. Hold the image for a moment. A king ruling alone in a palace of music and paintings. A people moving through crowded streets with quiet questions in their hearts. A city standing between calm and conflict, not yet knowing which way history will turn. London is waiting, breathing, listening. The first tremors of rebellion. Settle deeper into your pillow, my friend. Let your breath fall into a slow, even rhythm. Tonight we drift into the early 1640s, when London begins to feel the distant thunder of a storm that has not yet arrived but is already forming far beyond the northern hills. The city is calm on the surface. Shops open, boats move along the Thames, children run between market stalls. But the air feels different now. Something stirs in Scotland. And London, though hundreds of miles away, senses the tremor. A kingdom of three lands. England is not the king's only realm. He also rules Scotland and Ireland, each with its own traditions, laws, and religious customs. For years, these lands have tolerated Charles I's quiet adjustments to worship. But now the king pushes farther. He introduces a new prayer book in Scotland, richer, more ceremonial, more aligned with the rituals he admires. To Charles, it is beauty. To many Scots, it is intrusion, unwelcome, unfamiliar, too close to old fears. And so protests begin. Not dramatic ones at first, only murmurs in churches, disapproving glances, and quiet refusals. But murmurs can grow the way a few raindrops can become a storm. The news reaches London. Londoners hear about the unrest from travelers, merchants, and sailors returning from northern ports. Stories drift through taverns in low voices. A gathering outside a cathedral, a preacher refusing the new liturgy, a crowd shouting for the old ways. A general sense of defiance spreading like a spark through dry grass. London listens, and London worries. The city knows that unrest in one part of the kingdom rarely stays there. Trouble has a habit of traveling. Still, these are only rumors. Life continues, but the mood changes. A slight tightening of shoulders, a little more whispering in marketplaces, a few more people lingering near bills of mortality, searching for meaning in ordinary records. London is a city that pays attention. The Scottish Covenant. In 1638, the Scots sign a national agreement known as the Covenant. It is a promise to defend their faith and their traditions against what they see as foreign influence. The news reaches London like an echo carried on cold wind. People speak of it with mixed emotions. Some admire the Scots for their unity. Some fear rebellion. Some wonder if England will one day face similar tensions. Some simply shake their heads and return to work. The city does not panic. It rarely panics. But it feels the shift, like a chill entering through a slightly open window. The king prepares for war. Charles I decides he must confront the Scottish opposition. He begins raising troops. Supplies are gathered, weapons polished. Messengers ride back and forth between London and the northern counties. For the first time in many years, London sees soldiers drilling more frequently. Uniforms march through the streets. Carriages filled with military goods roll along the river. It is not war yet, only preparation. But preparation is enough to make the city uneasy. War requires money. And Charles has ruled without parliament for over a decade. His coffers are strained. The burden will fall on the people. London holds its breath. Taxes that stir the streets. To fund the coming campaign, the king expands ship money, a tax originally meant for coastal defenses. Now inland counties must pay, even those far from the sea, even London's poorest households. The reaction is quiet but strong. Merchants complain to guild leaders. Shopkeepers groan as collectors knock on doors. Artisans argue in taverns over mugs of ale. Some refuse to pay, some pay reluctantly. Some hide their worry beneath polite smiles. Resistance is not loud, but it is real. People mutter that the king asks too much, that the war is unnecessary, that the kingdom drifts without parliament. The murmurs gather like low thunder. The Thames mirrors the mood. Walk with me along the river for a moment. Look at the Thames. Usually lively, shimmering with the light of ship lanterns, filled with the sounds of oars and shouted greetings. Now it feels more subdued. Boats still glide across the surface, but with a heaviness. Dock workers speak less. Sailors glance northward, imagining the turmoil beyond the hills. Merchants calculate risks silently, wondering how conflict might steal their profits. Even the river seems to sense the approaching unrest. The water moves slowly, reflecting a gray sky that promises change. Conversations behind closed doors. London homes are filled with quiet conversations at night. Fathers speak to sons about the burden of taxes. Mothers worry about food prices. Apprentices whisper questions about loyalty and law. Craftsmen sit by firelight, wondering whether the king is still listening to his people. Some defend Charles, some criticize him. Some refuse to take sides. But everyone feels the shift, the gentle shaking in the ground beneath their daily routines. A kingdom ruled by one voice cannot ignore the voices rising around it, even if they whisper, not shout. The First Bishops' War begins. In 1639, the king marches north. London watches him leave with a mixture of pride, fear, and confusion. Is this war necessary? Is it a show of strength? Is it a mistake? No one knows. The campaign ends quickly and inconclusively. There is little fighting, little loss, but also little resolution. The Scots remain defiant. The king remains determined, and London remains deeply aware that nothing is truly settled, like placing a heavy book on a weak shelf. You know it will fall eventually. You just do not know when. The pressure builds. As the 1640s arrive, Charles needs more money for a second attempt. His taxes are insufficient. Loans are dried up. Merchants demand protections he cannot promise. He has only one option left, one door to open, one path he hoped to avoid. He must call Parliament again. After 11 years of ruling alone, the king must return to the chamber he once closed. London feels the significance instantly. It is as though a great breath has been drawn after a decade of holding it. Change is coming. Not slowly now, not subtly, but with the weight of history behind it. Let that image linger softly. A king who ruled in silence now, forced to seek counsel. A city watching the clouds gather on the horizon. A kingdom poised between patience and upheaval. The first tremors of rebellion are passing through London. Not loud, not violent, just steady, unmistakable. The Parliament returns. Rest your hands gently on the blankets, my friend. Let your breath settle into a soft, steady rhythm. Tonight we walk with London into a moment of profound shift. A moment when silence gives way to voices, when patience gives way to questions, when a king must return to the hall he once closed. It is the year 1640. Spring air drifts through the streets, crisp and cool, carrying the scent of river mist and early blossoms. London wakes to the news that Charles I has summoned Parliament again. After 11 years of ruling alone, the king must now face the chamber that has waited in stillness, like a door unopened for far too long. The city reacts not with cheers nor with anger, but with deep, thoughtful curiosity. Something is beginning. A city holding its breath. When the news spreads, it moves gently through the markets, taverns, and churches. People pause mid-conversation. Merchants stop counting coins. Dock workers lower crates more slowly. Mothers look up from washing clothes. The word Parliament carries weight, not loud weight, not heavy weight, but the kind that settles quietly into the soul. For 11 years, decisions have flowed from the palace to the city with no debate, no challenge, no shared voice. Now that silence is ending, and London feels it like the first crack of light before dawn. The streets begin to buzz. Within days, the mood shifts. Taverns fill with discussions, not rowdy but lively. Men speak softly about taxes, war, and tradition. Women discuss food prices and the needs of their families. Apprentices listen intently, suddenly aware that history is unfolding around them. On street corners, pamphlets appear, some praising the king's wisdom, some urging Parliament to stand firm, some whispering cautious hope that cooperation might return. The city is thoughtful, alert, alive. Even the sound of horses on cobblestones seems sharper, like the city is listening more closely than before. The return of the members. On the morning Parliament reconvenes, London gathers along the streets leading to Westminster, not for spectacle, not for festivity, but to watch. Members of Parliament arrive on horseback or in modest carriages, dressed not in splendor but in sober garments suited for long debates. Some nod politely to the crowd. Some keep their eyes lowered. Some look around with quiet determination. Londoners study their faces. Who will speak for them? Who will argue for justice? Who will challenge the king if needed? Who will defend him if necessary? The city does not look for heroes, just for voices. Voices that have been silent too long. The king watches from afar. Inside Whitehall Palace, Charles I prepares for the reopening with a mixture of resolve and apprehension. He still believes in his vision, in order, in beauty, in divine authority, but he knows the moment is delicate. He knows Parliament returns not as a partner, but almost as a judge. He knows grievances have piled up like books on a shelf, waiting for the day someone opens them. And he knows London is watching. Charles moves through his chambers quietly, the soft echo of footsteps following him like a shadow. He signs documents, reviews plans, and speaks with advisors in hushed voices. The king who once preferred silence now approaches a room filled with words. Westminster awakens. When Parliament finally gathers, it feels like a house stirring after a long sleep. Dust is brushed from benches. Papers are arranged on desks. Candles are lit, sending warm light flickering across wooden panels. Members settle into their seats. Some clear their throats. Others grip quills ready to write. Some exchange small nods of recognition. It is not loud. It is not celebratory. It is solemn. A quiet awakening. A chamber remembering its purpose. Outside, London listens. Voices that rise like gentle waves. The first speeches are calm, measured, respectful. Members outline concerns about taxes. They discuss the war in Scotland. They question certain laws. They urge the king to reconsider specific policies. Their tone is not fiery, but firm, like waves touching the shore with steady persistence. The city hears the echo of these voices through couriers, gossip, and the steady flow of printed pamphlets. For the first time in years, governance feels shared, not imposed, not commanded, shared. And that changes everything. The people begin to hope. Hope is a fragile thing. It arrives quietly, like a soft breeze slipping through an open window. Londoners begin to talk not only about problems, but about possibilities. Perhaps the king and Parliament will find peace. Perhaps taxes will ease. Perhaps religious tensions will calm. Perhaps war can be avoided. Perhaps old wounds can heal. Hope does not erase fear, but it stands beside it, gently balancing the weight. The city walks through its days with lighter steps, as though the future has widened slightly. A gentle but powerful shift. In the following weeks, debates grow more serious. Speeches become longer. Concerns multiply. Parliament asserts itself. The king resists. Old disagreements resurface. But this time there is conversation. And conversation is power. London can feel the balance shifting. Not violently, not abruptly, just steadily. The way a ship slowly turns in open water. The way a river changes course over many seasons. A kingdom built on silence is learning to speak again. The city understands the moment. By the end of 1640, every Londoner, whether merchant or mason, sailor or scholar, knows that the kingdom has entered a new chapter. Something has begun that cannot easily end. A dialogue, a struggle, a search for balance. London does not fear this moment. It respects it. The city has survived plague. It has survived poverty, fire, flood, and political storms of the past. Now it watches with clear eyes as king and parliament circle one another, each claiming duty, each defending belief. London stands steady, ancient, wise, ready. Let that final image rest softly in your mind. Parliament's halls glowing with candlelight. The king moving through quiet corridors, London standing between them like a thoughtful witness. A city breathing deeply, sensing that its footsteps are guiding history into a new era. The storm is not yet here, but the winds have begun to rise. Sleep in peace, friend.
Rest now, my friend, as the lamps of Westminster fade into the mist. Tonight, we watched London move from uneasy calm toward a gathering storm. Charles I ruled without parliament. Taxes weighed upon the people. Religious tensions deepened, and resistance began to stir across Scotland and England. At last, Parliament returned, filling silent chambers with voices that had waited 11 long years to be heard. London now stands between king and Parliament, listening as both claim duty, authority, and truth. No battle has begun, yet the balance of the kingdom is already shifting. The streets remain calm, the Thames continues to flow, and candlelight still glows behind quiet windows. But history has drawn its first deep breath. Let these distant voices soften. Let the city disappear beneath the night. Breathe slowly, release your thoughts, and sleep peacefully.